How did the most peaceful land on earth become one of the most hostile region in the world? Yes, we are talking about Jammu and Kashmir, named after Saptrishi Kashyap. 5,000 years ago, the valley echoed with the chants of Om Namah Shivaya. Ashoka the Great sent Buddhist emissaries to spread the light of Dharma. Over 1,000 years, the land was spiritual crown of Bharat, a haven for Shaivites and Buddhists. They debated not with swords, but with philosophy and wisdom. Prime universities like Sharda Peeth were established, attracting scholars from across the world. Then came the era of Lalitaditya Muktapida, the great Karkota king who expanded Kashmir's borders far and wide till Central Asia. But powers changed hands, and the Shah Mir brought a new wave of Islamic conquest. Centuries later, Guru Tegh Bahadur laid down his life to protect the Kashmiri Pandits from Mughal oppression, a sacrifice that still echoes in the valley. In the 19th century, the Sikh Empire under Maharaja Ranjit Singh reclaimed the valley, bringing stability once more. After the First Anglo-Sikh War, the Dogras purchased Kashmir under the Treaty of Amritsar, rising to power and constructing temples, forts, and attempting to restore the ancient valley's legacy. But in 1947, partition tore the land apart. What was once a cradle of spiritual debate turned into a battlefield of bullets and blood. In 1947, partition split the subcontinent in two, and Kashmir became the epicenter of the deadly tug of war. The first Indo-Pak War erupted as Pakistan sent tribal militia to seize the valley. Maharaja Hari Singh signed the instrument of accession, and India stepped in. But the land was already scarred. In 1948, the United Nations drew a line across Kashmir, the line of control, a fragile divide that still bleeds to this day. But the conflict didn't end here. In 1962, China entered the scene, seizing Aksai Chin in a swift, brutal invasion. Three nations now claimed the valley, and none would back down. 1989, Kashmir erupted in flames once again. Armed insurgencies, cross-border terrorism, and riots tore the valley apart. Families fled, homes burned, temples were desecrated. Kashmiri Pandits were driven from the land they had once called home for centuries. 1999, the Kargil War, Pakistani army infiltrated the icy peaks, igniting a bloody conflict that claimed thousands of lives. And yet, the cycle of violence continued. 2016, 2019, 2025, each year brought new attacks, new bloodshed, new pain. Pulwama, Uri, Pahalgam, the name changed, but the suffering remained. Today, the valley that once echoed with the chants of Om Namah Shivaya is in a shadow of a former self. A land of saints, scholars, and kings. Now a land of curfew, checkpoints, and conflict. But the question remains, can peace ever return to Kashmir? The full story coming soon on YouTube.
गलवान वैली में शहीद हुए 20 भारतीय जवानों का दर्द हमें आज भी याद है, लेकिन क्या हमें पता है कि इन लड़ाइयों के पीछे का कारण चाइना की 5 फिंगर पॉलिसी है? जी हाँ, चाइना के तत्कालीन प्रेसिडेंट माओ जेडोंग ने 1954 में 5 फिंगर पॉलिसी दी थी। माओ जेडोंग ने यह दावा किया कि तिब्बत चाइना की हथेली है और लद्दाख, सिक्किम, अरुणाचल प्रदेश, नेपाल और भूटान उसकी 5 उंगलियां हैं। इसलिए 1962 इंडिया चाइना वार भी चाइना की 5 फिंगर पॉलिसी का पार्ट था। इसलिए चाइना के प्रेसिडेंट शी जिनपिंग भी इसी पॉलिसी को फॉलो कर रहे हैं। सिक्किम भूटान बॉर्डर पर डोकलाम की घटना हो या लद्दाख में गलवान वैली की घटना हो या फिर अरुणाचल प्रदेश के बॉर्डर पर चाइनीज विलेज को बसाना हो, ये सभी इवेंट्स चाइना की 5 फिंगर पॉलिसी का हिस्सा हैं। तो आप बताइए, भारत ने 5 फिंगर पॉलिसी से निपटने के लिए क्या स्टेप्स लिए?
தம்பி கடைசி படத்துல விஜய் வந்து துப்பாக்கியை புடிங்கன்னு சிவாட கொடுப்பாங்க. கடைசியில படமே துப்பாக்கி படமா தான் எடுத்து வச்சிருக்காங்க. ஆமாம்பா, நானும் கேள்விப்பட்டேன். இன்னும் நம்மளோட சமூகம் விஸ்வரூபம் துப்பாக்கி காட்டின எதிர்ப்பு அவளுக்கு காட்டாம அமைதியா இருக்காங்க. ஏங்க, அப்ப என்ன இப்படி கேட்டுட்டீங்க? காஷ்மீர் மக்களோட போராட்டத்தை பயங்கரவாதம்ன்ற மாதிரி காட்சி அமைப்பு பண்ணியிருக்காங்க. அது மட்டும் இல்லாம விடுதலைக்காக சொல்லக்கூடிய ஆசாதி கோஷத்தை நம்ம சிஏஎன்ஆர்சில கூட சொல்லிட்டு இருந்தோம்ல, அத பயங்கரவாதிகள் சொல்ற மாதிரி சொல்லியிருக்காங்க. இதை விட முக்கியமான விஷயம் என்னன்னா, காஷ்மீர் பெண்கள் ஏன் வந்து ஆஃப் விடோஸா மாறினாங்கன்றது ஒரு பொய்யான புனையப்பட்ட கதையை சொல்றாங்க. இதோட உண்மை தன்மையை அருந்ததி ராய்ன்றவங்க காஷ்மீர் ஆஃப் விடோஸ்ன்ற புத்தகத்துல பதிவு செஞ்சிருக்காங்க. ஆனா சந்தேகத்தின் பேரால காஷ்மீரோட ஆண்களை கூட்டிட்டு போயிட்டு அதுக்கப்புறம் அவங்க என்ன ஆனாங்கன்னே தெரியாத மாதிரி ஆக்கி விட்டுறாங்க. இன்னும் கொரோனா காலத்துல நாம எப்படி வாழ்ந்தோமோ.
Kashmir became independent country, occupied it and gave trouble to both Indian army and Kashmir Muslim. Both are supporting to Pakistan in defense. Pakistan not ready. Both even Balochistan.
Confronted with and the facts you need to respond effectively. Claim 1. This is just India and Pakistan fighting yet again because they hate each other. This claim tries to frame the latest conflict as a domestic quarrel, when really this is about supporting democracy and stability versus a state run by a rogue military that has a long history of partnering with terrorists. How can you respond? What happened on April 22nd was not simply India and Pakistan fighting yet again, but a deliberate massacre by Pakistani sponsored terrorists, as it has done for years, with the intent to undermine a secular, pluralistic democracy where Muslims, Hindus, Sikhs, and Buddhists alike are thriving, participating in democracy, and enjoying stability for the first time in a decade. While India and Pakistan have fought on many occasions, it's inaccurate to assume that this is because of inherent differences rather than based on unacceptable actions. Claim number 2. The attack in Kashmir happened because India is a colonial occupier state. This claim is trying to erase the history of Kashmir's indigenous Hindus and Kashmir's historical and sacred position in India. How can you respond? India is not a colonial occupier of Kashmir. First, Kashmiri Pandits, who are Hindu, are the indigenous native people of Kashmir. Second, Kashmir has always been a part of India as far back as recorded history. However, since partition, Pakistan has been attempting to take control of Kashmir in its entirety and illegally occupies a portion of Kashmir. Claim number 3. Kashmiris have a right to self-determination. This claim suggests that the people of Kashmir do not have a say in how they are governed and that Kashmir is not integral to India. How can you respond? They do, and that's why India held the first election in a decade in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir last year, where a democratically elected Kashmiri Muslim, Omar Abdullah, was chosen by the people of Kashmir to be their chief minister. Additionally, since 2019, the indigenous Kashmiri Pandits who were ethnically cleansed from the Kashmir Valley have had the right to return to their ancestral homeland restored. Kashmir has always been a part of India. When India gained its independence, the princely states of British India were given the option to remain part of secular India or join the newly created theocracy of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan. The Maharaja of Jammu and Kashmir chose to join India after Pakistan preemptively invaded his lands before a decision had been made. If you found this helpful, check out the Hindu American Foundation's Community Advisory.